everybody, and welcome to Spa-Francorchamps for FIA Formula 3 in 2024. It's round 9 of 10, the penultimate weekend, and it's a wet practice session. And they've started it 10 minutes earlier than what they anticipated. Isn't that always the way? So with the session underway, let's hand over to Chris McCarthy, because we're not ready up here in the comms box.
Comes, we will see it's a very unpredictable championship. It's a very unpredictable season record state that this has been the most competitive in history. So if you are tuning in for the first time, you've come with us at a very good time. But as Alex referred to, the team's championship, there's a very good chance as we ride on board with one of the Prima Racing drivers that could be wrapped up this weekend. Prima Racing have a 97-point lead over ART Grand Prix, a resurging ART Grand Prix. 89 points is the maximum you can score in a weekend. So Prima Racing just have to hold their advantage or limit the damage to 7 points. And if they can do that, then they could become the team's champions with a round to spin.
ART, of course, benefiting greatly from the fabulous performance of Solov, who, of course, won't be with us this weekend, been excluded from the event. One of several drivers throughout the season as a result of racing at the same racetrack in a different series. This series deeming that that gives the driver an unfair advantage at this level and therefore excluding them from the race weekend as a result. So that's why we have our new driver in the series, and that'll be a problem for ART because Solov has been a good point scorer for them and potentially weaken their position to try to take the team's championship through to Monza. So Sebastian Philippe has urged the team in between this race and the last race to keep pushing and keep on fighting for that team's championship, but it could be a difficult ask against this outfit, Prima, who've been so dominant this year in F3.
Yeah, we saw a similar suspension for Martinius Stenchon when we went to Silverstone. Nicolas Solov competing in a different championship at this circuit without prior approval, and that has been the reason we do not see him race here. Shame for him as he got his third win in the championship at the last round, and that puts him one win away from equaling the record. Speaking of records, Sophia Flörsch became the first female driver in history to score points in FIA Formula 3. She did that last time here and got the first points for what is now the AIX racing team in the process as well. Said in an interview that's what we went to do, that was the plan, go and score points, and she came from 24th to 7th in what went down as one of the most eventful races in Formula 3 history. Genza in the end took the win with Taylor Barnard from 10th. They finished 1st, 3rd and 4th with Nikita Bedrin and Alex Garcia. Christian Mansell came from 23rd to 2nd with Campos Racing. So those two drivers up there in the championship. Christian Mansell will be looking forward to this one. But happy memories for Sophia Flörsch here.
5th in the championship now, Christian Mansell, with several podiums to his name. I count 4 podiums on his result sheet so far this year, and he's crept up on it through the last few races. A very good pair of finishes in Hungary for Christian Mansell, who's had pace, it must be said, the year long. Hasn't always worked out for him, had a very difficult round back in Imola, but he's really been delivering behind the wheel of that ART. We've seen track limits at play already. Here's Gabriele Mini over the top of Radiant, finds himself wide, and that's a scary place to be with water on that the ground. That curve can be so slippery. Drivers getting a feel for it out there. I think in the full wet conditions where they won't damage this first of 2 set of wets too badly. And so that's why we're seeing a lot of drivers out on track. They're getting laps in before the circuit dries, and it puts them in a position where they might damage what could be a critical set of tyres for the rest of the weekend. We're looking at rain that may continue throughout tomorrow, so no doubt at some point they may need to use this set of tyres again.
You can see them coming through the final chicane. We watched Sebastian Montoya, has at many times been a hard charger in this race. JP Montoya watching on from pit lane as we see him head down to La Source, one of many great corners on this circuit. Alex, you've raced around here several times. It's a challenging circuit already. How does that amplify when it's wet?
It's an incredibly long racetrack, firstly, one of the longest of the calendar, 7 kilometres. And that kind of shortens the races in terms of lap length, but every lap is a new adventure here. In wet conditions, the circuit changes so much lap on lap. That's because you spend so long doing those laps. We're looking at 2-minute 22s at the moment in terms of the peak time delivered by Browning. So every time you come around a couple of minutes later, the circuit's moved and shifted, the grip is in a different place, and the feeling of the racetrack is different as it gets wetter or drier. It's also over an extremely large area geographically. It's quite a long racetrack, which means that effect we always talk about over these bigger circuits of it raining at one end and not raining at the other end is particularly evident here at Spa. And that is definitely a factor. Some areas of the racetrack, the highest area of the racetrack up here at Brussels, the Brussels hairpin, much higher in terms of altitude than the lower area as well, which can affect the conditions and various different types of tarmac as it gets patched up and sorted out. So it's a real challenge. Feels like a rally stage, to be honest, in a Formula 3 car. You're out there for so long on each individual tour, but a great challenge for these young drivers. And another one of the venues that domestic racing series often have a little bit of a trip to. So lots of the drivers, even at this level, will have done laps around here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one that the likes of the rodent drivers as well will know. British Championships come here, so they've often been the drivers on the back foot, but domestic series, as you mentioned, do come here as well as European Championships. So this is going to be one that levels the field out, particularly as we get to round 9 now. Yellow flag in sector 2. We're yet to see the cause of that. Tim Tramnitz has gone to 5th. Dino Beganovic is within that top 7 in the championship. He's P6 in the championship, 29 points back. You do look back at that first round where he didn't quite get off the line from pole position. Wonder what difference that could have made had he gone on and converted that to a win, to his overall score. But he's still got 2 rounds to get himself back in the fight. The driver just behind him, Mansell, 5th, only 22 points back in the championship. Let's have a look at Alex Dunn. This might have been the cause, Alex.
So he's heading down to the pit-pap chicane, Dunn, and he's going to lock up that inside front and just go skimming across the gravel. It's super slippery there, slipperier than the rest of the racetrack in wet conditions, especially on the race line. And look how much water there is stuck inside the grass there. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dunn come for a visit to the pit lane and just see if there's any water or indeed grass, and to try to stuck in the ducts there for him, because that could be an issue moving on through the session. It's been a tricky year so far, hasn't it, for Sebastian Montoya down at Campos. Let's see if this great venue yields him something else.
Yeah, Sebastian Montoya with a best result of 6 so far. He'll be hoping for a big turnaround this weekend, maybe a first trip to the podium, and we caught up with him yesterday about his thoughts ahead of the weekend.
I think this track really suits my driving style. It's a very fast track, very flowing track, and I really like that. It's a track that I really enjoy. I think the weather this weekend is going to be a big change to other things, but yeah, it should be quite fun.
Weather is definitely going to be a factor, as Sebastian Montoya mentioned. Every forecast you're going to check is going to say something different, but rain definitely expected for tomorrow. Sunday could be different, and it's the circuit which could throw up plenty of challenges.
Oh, we got a power outage. This is unusual. TV pictures have gone. Well, I've never seen that before. TV pictures up here in the commentary box have gone and completely failed. And you can hear. Don't think it's coming from us, though. On our side of things, we'll definitely have a look. But at the moment, the rain coming down here at Spa-Francorchamps in the championship hunt. And yeah, TV pictures are back, I think. Yeah, here they go. They're coming back. So Luke Browning on top from Bedrin. Mini, here we go.
Teams appearing extremely keen to get the cars absolutely right here. Bit of a wing level change. The Trident won't be too happy with us videoing which holes their rear wing is on around Spa. That's they'll be getting some covers made up for those sharpish. It was a rear roll bar, sorry, a front roll bar change. that lateral bar with the two links connected to it that you saw being changed. That's the roll bar at the front, and it controls a lot of factors relating to the front grip, particularly in these conditions. As we have a look at our new drive.
Tuukka Taponen has been called in to replace Nikola Solov this weekend. He's the reigning Formula Regional Middle East champion. He won that series over the winter, beating Taylor Barnard comfortably to the title. He's second in the Formula Regional European Championship so far this season, currently racing in Freca. 4 wins for him so far in that series, having a very good run. He's part of the Ferrari Driver Academy, as well is Tuukka Taponen. Very talented, as we have a look back at Luke Browning. But what does the Finnish driver have to do this weekend? I guess it's a great audition for him, possibly for what could be a full season for him next year, because I'm sure that's what he's going to be looking at. A lot of Freca drivers come into this championship.
I think, yeah, basically showing that he can do it at this level is going to be key. What does that look like? It looks like a mid-grid qualifying would be a good effort. It's often underestimated how hard it is to jump into a series like this. You've got to remember, these drivers and teams have been grinding at getting these cars absolutely right throughout the series so far. And you jump in without any of that knowledge. It doesn't matter how much studying up you do beforehand. It doesn't matter how much chatting to your engineer. You're always going to be a little bit behind the game and a little bit behind the muscle memory of getting the car in absolutely the right window and driving it perfectly. So a mid-grid qualifying and a pair of neat and tidy races will demonstrate the ability to have consistency through a championship next year, and also enough pace to make sure that that you're in the hunt. And that's what a driver might want from their rookie year. If you can achieve more than that, well, then that's spectacular.
I've been getting to know Tuukka this year, and I've got to say, doesn't seem like a driver that gets phased by big challenges, new challenges, and adapted very quickly to go and win that title in the Middle East. So he makes an exciting prospect for this weekend. As we see Nikita Bedrin, what a weekend for AIX. I think this gives us a nice chance to reflect on their achievements. New team into the paddock last season. Their goal that year was to get points. They did that here with Sophia Flörsch. This year, they might have reassessed that target to maybe get on the podium. A 1-2 was certainly something they wouldn't have seen coming, and they did that with Nikita Bedrin and Tisana Boic.
Yeah, it was victory for Bedrin in the sprint race last weekend, and the joy was palpable, wasn't it? Yeah. For AIX, they've had their fair share of struggles in the series, but for those two drivers as well, particularly it must be said, in Trapuvazak, it was a real breakthrough performance and a demonstration of the ability that a driver has that hadn't necessarily been unlocked by his starting position throughout the year for Trapuvazak. His best finishing position outside of his second place in last round sprint race was not inside the top 10, but you pop him up at the front, he really delivered. AIX had the pace as well all weekend long. That was demonstrated, and a great step forward in engineering terms. Now the consistency needs to come across a vast array of venues, because that's what sets a team like Prema apart from the field, where they're not only sometimes at the front, but they always have a decent car at Formula 3 level.
Thank you very much, you two, as it looks like finally our systems have agreed to us. Now, in our defence here, we did not... This should have started at 55, not at 45. So already, that's an error. But alongside me in the commentary box is Omi, and we'll walk up to the main box now. Good morning, Omi. How are you doing?
Good morning. Yes, I'm doing well. Excited for another weekend of Formula 3. The penultimate round of the season, of course, and wet weather being thrown in there as well. Well, I did know that it was that was early, but I would expect you to know. But let's just say these things aren't put on social media too much, are they?
Yeah, because it said on the graphic, it said 8:55. Sky F1 says it's on at 8:55. All our timing said 8:55. It was mainly because lap time deleted. So when I was literally putting bandages on, and all of a sudden the Formula 3 feed starts, the running I did to the commentary box It was unbelievable. So that was not great. So yeah, not great. Yes, because I'm walking wounded this
yeah.
weekend. Go on.
And a warning,
Yeah.
F2 I think also starts early as well. Be
Yeah.
prepared.
So just be prepared to send that one on. Which I was going to go. What's happened here?
Yeah.
Oh, we've lost our session graphic. There we go. Where we are. There we go. Back now. It is. Yay. But yeah, just us to come back and start commentary when everyone dives into the pit lane because of the conditions. We're expecting a lot of rain today and tomorrow, so that's something to look into as well. Don't know
Lots
about
of rain
you,
tomorrow.
but yeah.
Could impact a lot of racing tomorrow as well for Formula 3 and Formula 2 if it rains too much.
Something to bandage again because it itches so much. You can't scratch, but it's just feels like it's not nice. Yeah. So bandaged up, gloves on, trying not to desperately scratch anything that's around me. But yeah, stop. Yeah, it's not good, not great. Your job today, guys, is to stop me from if I scratch. You know, I'm not allowed. I physically can't touch it because it's healing. It's just that, it's not great. I had to have an oil bath.
Yeah, you need
last
to
night.
behave.
Yeah.
You
Put
need
my
to
hands,
behave with that bit.
hands behind my back. There we go. That'll do it. So let's hear from Nikita Bedrin.
I got a good start in the sprint race and then managed to take the lead on the first lap. Then just kept the lead the whole race. It was quite controlled, so I was very surprised that we could actually keep the lead up with the speed that we had. So massive step up for the team, really happy with that. Also the future race, we did a very good job finishing P7. So I think we did for sure a step forward, and I think we should keep this momentum up for this week in Spa here as well.
Nikita Bedrin there as well, saying what he's going to say. And yeah, new sort of paddock here at Belgium because they've increased the infield sections a little bit and have reprofiled the exit of the pits. It's all a little bit different, but still looks great. And it's nice to be back here. It's still weird to be here at the summer break and not at the end of August. And at the end of July, wrong time in my opinion, but who knows, we might get a race this weekend. That's always a possibility.
Whatever the time, always rain. That's all we know around this circuit, and it could impact a lot of the running tomorrow, which we hope we can still run the rounds of Formula 2 and Formula 3 tomorrow with the sprint races, especially Formula 3, as we get to the business end of the season. And a championship that right now is wide open, and lots of the championship contenders having bad races last time, closing it up even more. So we go in with drivers, and with the wet conditions, it makes it even more challenging. So the qualifying that's going to be coming up later on today is going to be drivers to try and get a good qualifying result, be in the top 12. If you're not in the top 12, then it's a tough weekend ahead of you.
Clouds brightening up a bit over the 7-kilometre Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Callum Vosin now comes into the pit lane. All cars in the pits, so 20 to go. So we'll save our voice and hand back to the world feed.
Of great race circuits as well, as there is danger ever involved in motorsport. We try to mitigate it, but it's great to see drivers join together in fellowship when tragedy does happen, and we hope that it'll be a very, very, very long time before it strikes again, if not forever. So that is very good to see from those drivers.
You can see those gravel traps. That's one of the things that has been added in over the years. There we can see the drivers in the pit lane getting ready to go. We're in what we tend to call the halfway point now of the session, a bit of the half time in the session where they come in to do their tyre change. You mentioned how we might see them go out that first set of wet tyres, then go out on another set of wets, but it looks like with no rain falling that might not be the case. It looks like slick tyres on all the cars.
So I think it'll be a little while till we actually see those slicks on track.
Right.
Wet tyres for the drivers that will continue in the session. There's still spray coming off the cars when they pitted a few minutes ago. But what you're seeing basically are the drivers who think it's now too dry to put any more energy through the wet tyres that I might need to use later in the weekend. So what I'm going to do is come in, pop a set of slicks on, and then wait until I'm happy there's a dry line and maybe go out again. There might be a few brave souls who go for it, but I think there would be too much water on the track to really get a good read on them from what I've seen. Although we haven't seen a shot of the racing surface for a few moments, so I could be wrong.
In terms of times, Gabriele Mini hasn't really done the time. There have been a lot of track limit deletions, and he has been a victim to that. Arvid Lindblad, 26th place. We've got Luke Browning, one of the top 4, leading the way. Leo Fornaroli is 15th, so those top 4 are scattered all over the practice times. Now, people watching practice will say, well, is that going to make a huge difference? Mentally, I think definitely so. If you don't have a good practice session, you go into quali slightly with a hint of less confidence. I think you want a good practice session just to get your weekend going.
Drivers always say it's only practice, but then the problem with that is you've got an extremely long time as a Formula 3 driver to pour through the results of practice.
Yeah.
And however many times you look at it between practice and qualifying, it never changes, and that's the issue. So it always does affect the driver's mentality moving through into the ever-critical qualifying session.
Well, we've talked about the top 7 being split by 30 points. One of those 7 is 6th in the championship. Dino Beganovic, we've seen him on the top step of the podium this year, back at Australia, and we caught up with him before the weekend.
The goal is still clear and it's still wide open. Then a lot of things hasn't gone our way. Unfortunately, I have to say that we have been unlucky quite some times this year, and I don't want to name all the races right now, but there's been occasions, but still with this we're able to be there in the contention, which I'm very proud of and happy about. So obviously not ideal, but it's still open. We have 4 races to go and many points to catch.
Very well said from Dino Beganovic. Only 29 points back. When come feature race Sunday, you can score 26 if you take the win, the fastest lap. That can go to 28 if you take pole position with it. So it can change very quickly for Dino as he's going to roll out and come straight back in. Not quite good enough if he was on those slick tyres for those compound yet.
Nah, that's a little bit of a recce, isn't it? Fornaroli out there on a set of slick tyres, and you've got to try and connect the dots on these drier areas of the racetrack. Try desperately to get a little bit of temperature through them. As soon as you've got temperature, you can hoover over what is a reasonable amount of water. So Trident here, they recognise the slick is probably not the fastest tyre on the racetrack at the moment. They've sent Fornaroli out to get going. Often you'll see teams drive the car into the crossover, and what that does is gives them a feel for where that crossover is. So they'll send drivers out on the wet tyre, they'll come in, they'll pop them on the slick tyre what is too early, but if they do have a wet and dry race, which let's face it, there's every chance of this weekend, they then get a good read on what the conditions are. So Fornaroli will really struggle here. You pick a driver you trust, you send them, and see how long it takes them to clear the lap time they previously did on the wet tyre.
That's the crossover they're talking about there as well, in terms of soft tyre to wet tyre. And it looks like at the moment we're still too wet out there, Omi.
It seems like, yes. So, of course, they're just getting some data, as Alex Brundle was talking to you about, because we could have those conditions come tomorrow's race or even the future race if it does decide to race, but that can always change around at Spa. So there always could be that crossover where we need to see when is it time to go from wet to slicks, and how is the conditions at this part of the circuit when the rain has stopped as well. So it's just data gathering for these drivers, and it's crucial for a driver like Leonardo Fornaroli in that title fight as well. So some drivers have gone out on slicks, got some data from that. Still, of course, a bit too wet, not the tyre that you want to be on at this stage of the session. So they've decided to do one lap, come back in, and they've got all the data they need. 15 minutes to go into the session. Still a few cars out there on the circuit as well. So let's see how they are getting on. And we're looking to a few of them right now. Noah Leon who has had a good last few races in Formula 3. A good round at Silverstone, a good round in Budapest. The Mexican driver is really coming alive in this Formula 3 season in the second half of it.
He really is as well. It's one of the big surprises as we see Toponen now, Tuka Toponen. Here is the replacement driver for Solov after he was in an event that was deemed unofficial by the FIA. So he didn't ask for permission beforehand. So he's been banned from this event. Kind of stupid if you ask me.
Indeed. And yeah, and the great thing for Tuka Toponen is he, of course, has driven it, but he didn't need to ask FIA permission, so he's allowed in it. So he's basically got the experience around this circuit as well. Has Tuka Toponen earlier this year won 3 races in FRECA in a row, also 3 poles in a row. First one to do that since 2021, since Gregory Saucy. He is a really talented driver, Ferrari Junior as well. So he is a driver to keep an eye on. Should have a full-time seat next year. And also, with how talented he is, I think we could see him possibly even putting up a bit of a title challenge. So this round could be crucial for him to get up to speed so he can have a title challenge next year as well. Another driver who probably could be making their way through is Andrew Giusti, so keep an eye on him as well. Williams backed, so that could be another driver who possibly could contend for the title in 2025, but we're in 2024 and we're watching Sami Megatunov right now make our way to sign up the hill towards the Rugen Radion.
Back to Noel Leon, who's on those hard tyres. But yeah, final few races though with this generation of Formula 3 car ahead of the 2025 version, which is going to be very, very exciting to see.
And we're going to have a lot to talk about it as well during Monza. So yeah, it will be announced on the Thursday of Monza. We'll of course have a practice session to discuss all about it. I've already seen it, but of course we're not going to publicly so we'll wait for that to come in Monza.
If you got a photo, you can send it to me. Omi's inside of info.
I don't know if it's final, but like, yeah.
Insider info, it's fantastic. Up the hill. Now, of course, this is, as you mentioned, FRECA. This is a championship round that many of the drivers have already ridden before here. Because of the FRECA series and Euro Formula. They both run here. So a lot of people have experience of Spa-Francorchamps. It has been moved in line with motorcycle racing, but crucially still not in MotoGP. It's still not homologated for MotoGP racing just yet, but they are working towards it for the future. MotoGP race back round Spa would be quite nice. There we go. We race at Portimao.
Just coming DMs then.
Oh, right. Let's have a look. I'm quite lucky that the gloves I'm wearing, the cotton gloves, you can actually do things with them. But they need washing. Somewhere it says spoiler on it. Oh, I see. Actually, that's not bad. Not too dissimilar, but not too bad.
Not bad. They may make a few changes before the final. Yeah, they may make a few changes before the final one, but that's the one they're going with so far from the latest test at Silverstone they were doing with Sophia Flörsch and Chloe Chambers.
Ooh, can't wait then to see at Monza. Don't forget, Formula 3 not allowed to race at Zandvoort. Too tight a circuit for them. So that's where we'll pick up F1 Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty boring as well, the racing in 2022 when we came in when we came at Zandvoort for Formula 3.
Yeah, nothing happened. So we have F1, F2, F1 Academy, and Porsche Supercar instead.
No
What?
No.
No F2?
Yeah, we don't have F2 at Zandvoort.
They've got rid of F2 at Zandvoort. Best race of the year, they got rid of it. Oh, I'm fuming. best
Did how
race of the
chaotic it
year.
was last time, I think.
Oh,
Well, they replaced it with the Kata, so we have a round at the end of the season.
yay! Let's go to Qatar. Yay! Qatar's sort of been tainted for me a bit. Has provided some interesting F1 racing though.
Into prove attack? Yeah. Into prove attack, they're making his way through. Good results and last them out, especially in the sprint race. Him and Nikita Bedouin working together to get the steps there as well. It was great to see Tassanapol and Pruvazak finally fighting at the front. He came into the weekend having not scored a point all season. Plenty of points as well. That's going to help him improve in the standings as he currently sits 9th in the results. Of course, not really pushing on. He's on the slick compound of tyres, so this stage as well, improvement in the last sector for him. So it's different parts of the circuit. It's a long circuit here, so there may be some power than others, and that will be a common theme around the whole weekend and the whole lap, as Tim Travanitz though is pushing on with a lock.
Yeah, down to Malmedy, to Ravage, now into Jackie X corner. Oh, and just snaps coming downhill.
Oh, that's wide.
Now, Jackie X says he doesn't want a corner named after him, so it's either No Name or Speaker's Corner. But it is officially X. Then it's through Puong. And then another corner, it's either Pith Path or what it's actually called, Fanya. I much prefer the original. It's not Pith Path, it's the Fanya chicane. Then down into Stavalo.
Yeah.
Really got the exit curve here when you're in the wet conditions. Curve to Paul Freire 1. There's 2. This is the curve to Paul Freire, and then you got a second one at the top here. So this is curve to Paul Freire 2. And then it's up towards Blanchimont here. And then the bus stop chicane, which used to actually be a bus stop until it just turned into a chicane. They ruined it, in my opinion. Add the old bus stop back. I know it's been 18 years for this one, but I miss the old bus stop. And into La Source at turn 1. I love this track. Longest on the calendar. I don't like what they've done there, although I can understand why, but the runoff out of the source, don't like it. It ruined it for me. That run out of the source down through a Rouge with the barriers so close was what gave Spa. Kind of ruined it now.
Done out there then, pushing on, the McLaren Junior. And he is a driver coming with form as well in the second half. But coming with form is also coming with lots of crashes as well. Some not his fault, some are. He's been involved in a lot lately, has Alex done, which has been unfortunate because he's been a driver with a lot of pace.
I think the one thing as well with Dune as well is that bad qualifying, but good racer. So it's causing problems. He hasn't yet picked up his qualifying form. Oh, nice camera, Blanchimont.
Yeah. When he does pick up his qualifying, he usually goes good for. But yeah, he is definitely very good at the wheel-to-wheel combat as well. And Alex is about to come over the line. The MP Motorsport, of course, part of the McLaren program, and he goes top. He goes top by 8/10 of a second.
2:24.74, and that's the track improving. Still damp in areas, but it's a 7-kilometre track. It's not going to be wet all over. This is Browning, who's in second at Lacombs. Just twitching as he comes into Malmedy. Now we see Tremonitz into Jackie Hicks. This is what we saw live with him, the snap at the rear. Getting it slightly wrong.
Yep, nearly going off the road. And locking up into the bus stop for Tim Travanitz, still part of that Red Bull Academy as well. Unlike Kasper Stuka, who was sacked by Red Bull earlier on.
He's gone 8,000 slower than his teammate of Doon, so it's a 2:20.482. Yellow flag is out on the circuit.
Oh, yellow.
Don't know where, just it's gone green.
Who's misbehaved? Okay.
Stein shows up to 13th. Brief yellow sector 2. I bet that's someone running off at the com, like going straight over the chicane. Did you prove that goes 7th? 2:21.816. Track's improving.
Quickest in the second sector then. Yeah.
Yeah, what is his second sector? Didn't tell me. It's too far down on the timings. Oh, there we go. 64.5. That helps. Such a long lap here in a Formula 2 car and Formula 3's. Montoya, 2:20.024. Ramos up to the line and takes it. 2:19.990. 34 thousandths difference. This could be a slight better improvement.
Track improvement coming in then in this session. Yeah, coming in from the circuit in this session. We have minutes to go, and we also have Noah Leon pushing on, who is also quicker in that middle part of the lap, and surely should be going to the top of the timing sheet.
No, Leon does go to the top of the timesheets with a 2:18.749. 1.241 faster than Ramos. So time's crumbling now. Middle sector still 63 seconds. Yellow flag's out. Oh, and it's a permanent one. Sector 2. Who's thrown it away?
So who's done what
There!
now?
Spinner at Jackie Hicks.
Oh,
Can't quite tell who it is. It's the 19.
one of the... That should be one of the Jenses then, of Zagazeta.
Double yellow has gone now to green. Yeah, Matteo Zagazeta spinning at Jackie Hicks' corner. Turn 9. Browning up to third, 2:19.197. 4.5 tenths down. Steinshaw goes up to 11th. This is how we did it. Simple loop around.
Yep, around fully. Lucky to keep that one going and not stall it though. How Formula 3 and Formula 2 cars can easily stall. Running did thoroughly fighting away with the car through that first part of the lap. Now heading down in through the second sector as well as he tries to get a lap time on the board.
Tenacity into Privers, that's gone second fastest on the 2:18.851. Forlaroli's fighting his trident for control around the circuit. This is looking good. Oh. Megatunif on a 2:19.6.
Megatunif up to 6.
Yeah. Lag. Mini to oh no, Vosin and Joseph Lowe. They're all improving in the bottom half. Look at Forlaroli, fast by 1.3 seconds. That's just got taken away by someone as well. Alexander Doon to the top, 2:17.685. Shields goes 15th. So they are starting to close down. Lap time cancelled for Megatunif. Sophia Flörsch up to 12th. Yes. I think Forlaroli's looking quite good to jump up. Boyer goes second. Lindblad, second. Forlaroli. Oh, Dude's had a lap time cancel. Forlaroli goes top. Trimonats goes top. 2:17.021. They are changing as quick as you can say here in Formula 3. That's because the track's improving again and again and again and again and again.
Browning a little bit wide. Mansell fastest in the Second sector done, quickest of all. Do that first part of the lap. Overall though, for Luke Browning, he is going to move up to third position as well as he completes his lap. Stenstrom's going to be next over the line. Stenstrom will go up to fourth position. What can Ollie Goethe do as well? Ollie Goethe goes up to P4, and then we're also going to get Mansell coming over the line next season to sixth.
Van Hopen, sixth now because it's proven that's gone fourth. Verts, Montoya, Ramos up there with the fast middle sector. Checker flags now out as Verts goes ninth. First one to take the flag across the line, 2:18, 2:57. Montoya looking good. Esterson goes into eighth. Here comes Montoya into the chicane. Jumps it over ever so slightly. Boots it towards the checker flag. And Montoya goes fastest. 2:16, 2:10. Yellow flag's out somewhere. Bedrin goes fourth. Juan Pablo Montoya's going to be happy with that as well. There's the spinner. And it's Megatunif. It's not a spin. It's Ramos. He's stopped at the entry to the last corner, Omi. That's coming into the bus stop.
Yep. So all gone wrong for him. Then we'll need to look at the replay and see what's happened.
His teammates off. And you, look. Now is that Megatunif? There's another Trident straight on. They've come together. There's another Trident off in the runoff area.
Oh, God.
I thought Megatunif was somewhere. Has he taken the flag? Well, all these times going to be under investigation for improving under yellow. So, don't know what's going to count here. It's the first 15th and the 12th improves time, not position. But
it is Megatunif.
it is, yeah. Megatunif and Ramos have stopped in the last corners. Megatunif straight on down the escape road, and Ramos has stopped at the entrance to the pit lane. Now, why haven't they red flagged it? Yeah, look, there you go. There's Megatunif.
Yeah, why are we letting drivers just finish lap times and go quick?
Ramos has gone out the last corner, but there's a yellow flag right there. Brown is going to go top and does so by 30 thousandths of a second. We should have a red flag. That's not right. Because it's the fastest part of the track in a braking zone. And if one driver locks up or aquaplanes, you're going to go straight off. And there is Megatunif, who is off the track as well. I was looking at the Delta screen, and they both stayed in the second sector, having crossed sector 3. Let's have a look. Well, that's Ramos. And there's Megatunif just having a separate accident by locking up and going straight on. Exactly the reason we should have had a red flag, because if he can do it, everyone can do it.
Yep, indeed, and they were all attacking and pushing as well, so anyone could have done it, and both tried to make a mistake at the same time, so they didn't come together.
That's
It was
good.
a mistake from both at the exact same time, but yeah, not good stewarding there as well in race directing to get the yellows out.
Really
Well,
shocking there. Yeah, and there's another one.
Right.
Is he still there? Is he still stuck? Because look, he's still there. Look on the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought he might
Yeah, he
have
is
reversed it
stuck.
out, but no.
Right behind the graphic.
Yeah, there he is.
Hold on, there you go.
Let's have a look at Ollie Goethe. This is down into Jackie Hicks. He's made a mistake. Puts a wheel on the gravel. Yeah.
Oh.
Just twitched at the wrong point.
Yeah. So he's trying to push on at the moment. But yeah, Luke Browning is going to top the timing sheets of this session.
Hang on.
We've had Interprovers lap deleted.
Yeah, this is coming for lap times under yellow.
So Luke Browning may be deleted as well then.
Yeah. So this is going to run and run and run, isn't it? Because everyone does their practice starts. Confuses the timing screen. Also because the support pit lane here is at the exit of the source. So you go straight into that one. The best pit lane, I think. I don't know why Formula 1 don't use this pit lane at Spa. It is the best one. The original. Unchanged here at Spa. Love it. So everyone's taken the checker flag then. The session has concluded. Let's hand it back to Chris McCarthy and Alex Brundle.
Moving under yellow in the final sector.
We will have to see what happens with the stewards. As you mentioned, it's something you are due really to not improve, but I think I agree on your point. The drivers will argue they couldn't help but improve. We'll see what happens with that one. Gabriele Mini, a fairly quiet session for him. Some of the other top 4, Browning was up there, Fornaroli was up there, Lindblad 13th. So for Prima Racing, it's not been the best start to the weekend for them, really. Lindblad, Mini, Beganovic all out of the top 10. Maybe eyes on them for when the conditions improve. But some great results for Browning, Leon, Mansell done. Stuka, MP Motorsport had a great session.
Depends massively on where you were and when. Yeah, during that session, I take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, honestly. Yeah, conditions moving back towards dry, but not dry yet. The circuit improving every lap. So in terms of the lap times achieved, really not that relevant. It's all about the comfort in the car and getting the car absolutely sorted out. That being said, let's see where they...
Yep, absolutely great. Omi, final thoughts from you? What did you make of that session?
An interesting Formula 3 practice session, should be an interesting qualifying session, a crucial qualifying session coming up, especially for the championship contenders. This is going to be an exciting weekend, and every single session from here, drivers can earn some points.
Thanks, Omi. See you soon, as we'll be back in about 10-15 minutes' time, ready for Formula 2's practice session from Belgium. See you soon. Bye-bye.